Alright guys, with God of War 2 arriving very soon at the making of this video, I am ready to finally just rank all the God of Wars. Now, I did do a top 5 God of War list a few years ago, but this is more fun in my opinion because I get to put them in tiers. And tiers are always fun because, hey, everybody likes tiers. You're watching it because you like tiers, because why else would you be watching? Anyway, let's just jump right into it. So you can see my tiers are God tier game, which means that it's the best of the best, one of the best ever action games of all time. Demigod means it's pretty damn good, but it's not quite on the God level. I means I or meh, whatever one you want to use. Never play again means that maybe I played it enough to play it, but I never will play that shit again. And Ninja Gaiden 3 bad is, well, if you ever played Ninja Gaiden 3, you know it. That game fucking sucked big fat balls. Let's see if any God of Wars end up on there. So we're starting with my favorite God of War of all time, God of War Ascension, which is truly a masterpiece in just the way that it was a gigantic piece of fucking shit. I hate this game. I literally hate this game. See, when there's a bad game, I kind of just accept it as just badly crafted or badly made. But when there's a game that is pointless, that is even more of a reason to hate something. And this game is the definition of one of the most pointless games of all time. You know, coming off the heels of God of War 3, which I have my own problems with, and we'll talk about a little bit, this game just didn't do anything to advance the games. I think even the original creators weren't a part of this, or the original team of God of War 2 and 3 and 1, and they were just like, no, this is a side project. It had multiplayer. God of War had multiplayer. What the fuck? And it was garbage. It was a garbage multiplayer anyway, but that's besides the point, because, you know, there's a lot of great single-player games that have multiplayer I don't care for. So I'm not even going to hold that against it too much. Listen, there's some cool parts in this game. There's some cool parts of beating the shit out of, like, these flying herpy creature things and, you know, destroying stuff. That's what God of War is all about. But if you were to tell me to ever play this game again, I would have to fucking punch you in the face because I hate this game. I think the puzzles are the worst in the series by miles. Now, it's not even a competition, if you want to call them puzzles. I think the combat isn't the worst thing ever, but it literally is bland. It's so boring. In comparison to something like God of War 2 and 3, this came out as lesser, an inferior product of the combat, which is just terrible. And the story, I don't remember a single fucking thing from this game's story. Like, that is to me the worst problem with a game. Like, I can remember a game and hate the story because it's bad. This one, I don't remember it. It's just a blank slate. And I beat this game. I have the fucking trophies to prove it. And I don't remember anything of this game other than like one portion of the game where you beat the shit out of a flying creature that wants to fuck with you. That's it. The rest of this game, it's a fucking blah. But again, it's not Ninja Gaiden 3 bad for me in terms of like the actual crafting of the game. But I will never, ever play this game again. I don't think it's like a 0 out of 10, but I think I gave it a 4, maybe a 3 out of 10. Forgot what I gave it, but it doesn't deserve anything higher than that. So it's going to be a never play again, very low on the never play again, because I don't think it's as broken or as, you know, piece of shit as Ninja Gaiden 3, so I can't quite put it there. Alright, so now you've listened to me bitch and complain about Ascension. Let's talk about God of War 2, probably one of the greatest action games of all time. I'm going to take you back when I was a child playing this game. And when I say a child, I was a teenager. But to me, being old now, that feels like a child. But I put this game in on my system. And I liked God of War 1. And I'll talk about it in a minute. But God of War 2 was a fascinating experience for me. Because I put it in not really expecting too much of enjoyment. Just to kind of play another action game. You know, that's when like Prince of Persia 2 and 3 were coming and all that. And I put it in. I was playing it. The first level. I was like, all right, it's pretty cool. The first boss, I was like, yeah, I was hooked. This game fucking took me for a ride. I think I beat this in like 2 days, which back then wasn't a big deal. But now that would be amazing. But yeah, this game had the set pieces that blew me away, or I should say the boss fights that blew me away. It had some of the funnest combat in the series. It still holds up as my favorite combat, even replaying it a couple of years ago. It felt so smooth and fast-paced, and it really had that brutal feel that God of War is kind of known for, that heavy bam, like when you slam on them. I also just really like the story in this one. I think that the revenge tale really worked for me here, and the ending, yo, You know, other games and movies should take note of this ending, because when that ending happened and you get hyped up, you gotta wait 3 years for God of War 3. But man, tell me you weren't hyped at the end of this game. I was ready to fucking kill a god. So yeah, between the combat, the story, the graphics at the time, everything just really worked for this game. It was the first game kind of just re-upped in such a way, or advanced in such a way, that it made it almost perfect for me. It's one of the rare 10 out of 10 games that I would actually still say holds up for me. And yeah, this is a god tier game for me. Bloop. So God of War 1 is an interesting game in a different way. You know, it got a lot of hype when it came out. People loved it. And I put it in my system and I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. You know, with the thing with God of War, I think had the problem of, you know, they had to make the game bigger, or put fluff in the game. And when you go back into Hades and all that, whatever it was, the Hell world, I was getting bored when you had to collect the pieces and all that. So this game has something that I like to call fluff, when you put stuff in the game just to make it longer than it had to be. This game probably would have been just like 5 or 6 hours without that segment. But you know what? I probably would have played it like 3 or 4 more times. Saying that, I did like God of War. I think it's fun. I think it has some cool moments. You know, you're introduced to Kratos. And I just think that it was a good game. It was a good, solid action game. It had some cool boss fights. This kind of introduced the quick time event bosses in terms of making them epic. And yeah, it was good. It was good. I liked it. I thought the story was sad with Kratos and his family. But it just didn't capture me the same way I think it captured everybody else out there. Saying that, I think for what it did, what it introduced to the series, it really has to be, you know, talked about, because it gave us one of the biggest action series of all time. And I think it also changed the landscape of the epicness of games in a way, like trying to make it big and grand. I was arguing where I would put it. Would I put it in I, or would I put it in Demigod? And it's like right in between. So I'm going to put it in Demigod just because I think it deserves the respect. It would be a low Demigod for me. Kind of like on border of I'd give it like a 7.5, but I think it deserves to be in Demigod just for what it did. All right, God of War Ghost of Sparta. What a game. What a game. I don't know how many of you played this on PSP. I'm sure a lot of you probably played this more on the collection edition, which is understandable. But, you know, when I played this on a handheld, I was blown away with how fucking good it was for a handheld game. And I think that really resonated with me in terms of like getting to play a game of this scale and this epicness on a handheld at the time. Now it's been years, and now we have the Switch and all that, which produces bigger than that on there. But yeah, it blew me away. I also really like the story in this one. This isn't like one of my favorite stories, next to another game that's coming up very, very soon. And I think that it really captured Kratos in a different light for once. He wasn't just all revenge and like murder. And I thought that was really cool. I also thought that it had the set pieces that we like and the boss fights that we like, and added to the factor that it was on a handheld just was, you know, awesome. Now there's another game on here we're going to talk about that was on handheld. But this game, to me, this captured God of War almost perfect. And this felt like God of War 2.5 edition. And for that, I'm going to put it in Demigod, and I'm going to put it in front of the first one, because I really enjoyed the story here more than the first game. Not quite as much as 2, but I did enjoy it. Now we're going to talk about God of War 2018, and this game is great. I think people are confused with my review. I think I give it 8.5 or 8. And they're like, how could you give it so low? It's a 10 out of 10 everywhere. But I really enjoyed this game. I had a good time playing this one. I think my biggest gripe with the game is the pacing. I feel like there's parts that just could have been taken out to make it quicker. And I do think that some of the boat traveling just didn't really capture my attention. I know people love the stories with Kratos and his son, but I didn't. But I will say that the main story, like through the cutscenes of the actual story in the game, phenomenal. I mean, I was captivated. I wanted to know where we're going. I loved the father and son moments. I loved all the characters they were introducing, and it was such a weird blend of putting Norse mythology into a Greek mythology, or what we were used to with Greek. I was like, what is happening? And it was great. You know, I'm not a huge mythology fan. Like, I like it, but to be introduced to these characters in this world in this way after coming from Greek mythology was really cool. The boss fights, I mean, at this point, they're a staple of the series, but in this game, they are amazing. But not just the boss fights. There's set pieces in this game where you're like there's a part where you're like traveling through different like time, whatever you call it, universe. You know what I mean if you played the game. And it blew me away. That was real time. It wasn't a cutscene. So that just... So yeah, excellent boss fights, a really great story, a cool ending that I just was like, wow, I need to know what's going to happen. The only thing that really bogged it down for me is I didn't like the combat quite as much as some of the other God of War games. I thought it kind of weared on me after a while. And that could also be because of the pacing. This game is way longer than most God of War games. I think it's like 25 hours I think I spent. And the combat just started to, you know, get a little repetitious at the end. But I will say that I still enjoyed this game a lot. I am very excited for God of War 2. And I'm going to put it in Demigod. And I'm going to put it right above Ghost of Sparta. Because I really like Ghost of Sparta. But I think I enjoyed the new God of War a little bit more. It was really great. All right. And God of War 3. I mean, you guys have been watching. Some of you have been watching my channel since I reviewed this game. So... shit, we old now, people. We old. If you didn't know, I used to work at a game store back in the day, and I got this game early. I was able to review it right on time, and, you know, people really liked my review because I hyped it up. But I did say the truth then, and I will say it now. God of War 3's first half is 10 out of 10. Second half, 7 out of 10 at best. And so combining that, it makes kind of, or I'd say actually 6.5 out of 10. It gets rough, that second half. When we talk about fluff, God of War 3 puts it in abundance at the end just to make this game padded out. And it does not do it any favors doing that. And I distinctly remember fighting some like Scorpion-type fucking mini-boss was the worst. Like getting to him was the worst, and then fighting him was the worst. Luckily, the game finishes strong, you know, with fighting the big bad. But Zeusy, that's his name. Zeusy is now his name, not Zeus. Okay, we don't call him Zeus anymore. We call him Zeusy. Zeusy. But yeah, God of War 3 is a weird game. Like, there's moments that I will never forget. Obviously, the opening is epic as fuck. Beating the shit out of Hercules till his skull gets crushed in. Love it, love it. Yes, I'm scary. It has amazing moments, but unfortunately, in that amazing moments, it has moments that just drag it down completely, more than probably almost any game on this list in terms of pacing issues. So yeah, God of War 3, great moments mixed with a good game, mixed with parts that bog it down and almost make it weaker. However, I still think it's a really good game. Like, I would replay this game. I think it's better than but I don't know if I could put it... I definitely liked Ghost of Sparta more, and I like God of War, the new one, more, 2018. It's really between 1 and 3. They're about the same in different ways that I dislike them, but I think 3 just had, you know, beating the living shit out of Hercules till his fucking skull got crushed in. Ugh! That's what I'm talking about. I love that shit. So we're going to end the list with God of War, Chains of Olympus, and... it's alright. You know, the thing with this game is that it came out on the PSP. It was a showcase for the power of the PSP. It looked good for the PSP. That's it. It just didn't do anything to reinvent the wheel. Come on. English. But what it did do was showcase the PSP, which was cool at the time. And it had the combat that was good enough, but it very much felt like God of War 1 at the time when it came out, and God of War 2 was already here. So we ain't going backwards. So yeah, I don't really have much to say about this game other than it's boy. So that's my list of God of War. Now, God of War is a pretty fucking great series, as we can see. You know, God of War 2 still holds the crown for me. It's a game that just the memories, just the combat, just the bosses, they all just stuck with me. But as you can see, I really enjoyed almost every God of War. I think most of them are anywhere from good to great to a fabulous. Really the only ones that are poopy are Ascension. I hate you, Ascension. Yeah, I do. But God of War Chains of Olympus isn't even bad. It's just, you know, like, it's okay if you want to play it, if you want to fill in the gaps. But if you don't play it, you're not missing much. But yeah, there's really only one game that I would never play again in this series, and that is Ascension. The others I would definitely replay. I have replayed. The only one I haven't replayed, I think, actually, is God of War 2018. I played a little bit of it when it came out, and I played it again like 2 years later and beat it. So I haven't replayed that one that much, but I probably will down the line. And yeah, so this is my list. What's your list? Who's the best God of War? Which God of War did you just love? What God of War did you hate? And are you excited for God of War 2 coming out very soon? Hope you guys enjoy my list. As always, these are so fun to do. I hope you guys enjoy them. If you don't, that's okay. I still love you. Just don't thumbs down me, because then I get sad and I cry. But if you do like it, please hit thumbs up on this video. Comment below of your God of War list. And I shall be back for more. I don't know what the fuck that was. Like for a God of War video, it should be ho 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 ho. You know what I'm talking about. That epic music that gets you pumped. Okay, I'm gonna